3 important questions for Bible readers. Question 1. What is the meaning of Christ being our second husband, the new husband, in Romans chapter 7? Answer. Romans chapter 7 verses 2 to 4a says, "For the married woman is bound by the law to her husband while he is living. But if the husband dies, she is discharged from the law regarding the husband. So then if, while the husband is living, she is joined to another man, she will be called an adulteress. But if the husband dies, she is free from the law, so that she is not an adulteress, though she is joined to another man. So then, my brothers, you also have been made dead to the law through the body of Christ." These verses show 2 husbands. The first husband, the old husband, is not the flesh or the law, but the old man mentioned in 6:6, who has been crucified with Christ. The second husband, the new husband, mentioned in 7:2-4, is Christ. As regenerated beings, both male and female believers have Christ as their husband and are a part of his wife. Isaiah chapter 54 verse 5. "Your maker is your husband. Jehovah of hosts is his name. And the Holy One of Israel is your Redeemer. He is called the God of all the earth." 2 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 2. "For I am jealous over you with the jealousy of God. For I betrothed you to one husband, to present you as a pure virgin to Christ." All genuine Christians have Christ as their husband, yet it is pitiful that many do not know him as their husband. Question 2. How and why our old man, the old husband, has been crucified in Romans chapter 7? Answer. Romans chapter 7, verses 2-4, show 2 husbands. The first husband, the old husband, is the old man mentioned in 6-6, who has been crucified with Christ. Since our old man, who was the old husband, has been crucified with Christ, we are freed from his law and are joined to the new husband, Christ, the ever-living one. As believers, we have 2 statuses. The first is our old status as the fallen old man, who left the original position of a wife dependent on God and took the self-assuming position of a husband and head, independent of God. The second is our new status as the regenerated new man, restored to our original and proper position as the genuine wife to God, depending on him and taking him as our head. Isaiah chapter 54 verse 5. 1 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 3. We no longer have the status of the old husband, for we have been crucified. We now have only the new status of a proper wife, in which we take Christ as our husband, and we should no longer live according to the old man. That is, no longer take the old man as our husband. Since the law was intended for and given to the old husband, the old man, the death of the old man also made us dead to the law through the body of Christ. Question 3. What is the meaning and purpose of the law? Answer. In God's creation, man's original position was that of a wife. Isaiah chapter 54 verse 5 says that God our maker is our husband. Thus, according to God's creation, man had the position of a wife. As a wife to God, we must depend upon him and take him as our head. This was our original position. When man fell, he took another position, the self-assuming position of the old man. The fallen man assumed the position of a husband. The man created by God was a wife. The fallen man became a husband, assuming the position of the husband. The fallen man became independent of God and made himself the head as the husband. Among fallen people, both males and females think of themselves as husbands. Many wives have said, "Why must I be under my husband? He should be under me. Why should he be the head? I want to be the head." Hence, fallen man became a strong, ugly husband. Since fallen man wanted to be the husband, God gave him the law. The law is not intended for the wife, but for the fallen husband. Thus, this law becomes the law of the old man, the law regarding the husband. Romans chapter 7 verse 2. However, God did not intend that the old man keep the law, because the old man cannot keep it. People make a great mistake when they think that God gave man the law that he might keep it. On the contrary, God gave the law to man that he might break it, and that by breaking it, he might be completely exposed. If you try to keep the law, you are wrong. If you break the law, you are correct. The law was not given for man to keep. It was given for man to break. This thought is scriptural. Romans chapter 3 verse 20 says, "Through the law is the clear knowledge of sin." If man had no law, he would continue to commit sins, but would not recognize them as such. Man would excuse his sinful deeds, using favorable terms to describe them. However, the law identifies sin as sin. Moreover, Romans chapter 4 verse 15 says, "Where there is no law, neither is there transgression." You may think that the law prevents transgression, but this verse says that the law exposes transgression. Furthermore, Romans chapter 5 verse 20 says, The law entered in alongside that the offense might abound. The law did not enter that the offense might be reduced or restricted. This is our natural concept and thought. Paul says that the law entered that the offense might abound, meaning that it might increase plentifully. Thus, the Bible indicates that the law was not given for us to keep, but for us to violate. You may say, I will not try to break the law. Whether you want to break the law or not means nothing, for you will break the law. You cannot help but break the law. The law says, love your neighbor as yourself. Although you may try to love your neighbor, you cannot do it. Even the children in school cannot love their classmates as themselves. Everyone reading this message has broken and continues to break at least one of the 10 commandments. Who can keep the law? No one. The law entered that the offense might abound. According to Romans chapter 7, verse 7, we would not have known sin except through the law. In this verse, Paul says that he would not have known coveting, except the law had said, you shall not covet. As a summary, we may say that the law works, that the offense might abound. Once the offense abounds, the law exposes it as sin. In this way, the law leads us to the knowledge of sin.